But then I saw the brush, and so then I got a little bit concerned. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video because we're talking new brand. We are talking about the brand Sarah Creal today, and we're going to be applying, trying on all of that, getting into my thoughts on the concealer specifically and the mascara. And I'm really excited to get into it and talk about it because I know a ton of people have been asking my thoughts on it, and I just hadn't gotten around to trying it out. So I'm really excited to let you know what I think because I know the brand is on the pricier side, and anytime something's expensive, you want like nitty gritty, not you, me. I want nitty gritty details on what someone thinks about it and whether or not it's worth the money. Yeah, I just want to jump into this video and get started. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below on what else you want to see me review. I am going to also be doing gift guides and all of that stuff. But if you have a specific gift guide you want me to make or anything like that, let me know down below. Without further ado, let's get into the Sarah Creal concealer review and Sarah Creal mascara review. Sarah Creal makeup, let's jump right in. I'm really excited. So first things first, I already have my base on and my eyebrows. Now we're going to move on to the products. Now, Sarah Creal products are made for more that 40 plus age range. It doesn't mean it's not going to work for you, but that's just something to note. It's always going to depend on kind of skin type and all of that. Now let's jump right into the concealer. So this is the concealer bottle container. It has a glass bottle, which is nice. It's really hefty feeling. And the cap is just this gold. It has a little bit of texture. What I will say is you have to let me know if I'm alone. Does this not kind of look like a radiator to you? That is a radiator, kind of. But not in a bad way, but that's just what immediately came to my mind when I got my hands on this. I was like, oh, okay, strong radiator vibes, but it's nice and hefty feeling, which is really nice because it is a very expensive concealer. It is $58, which I know everyone's gonna have a heart attack. I had a heart attack, but you know, I had to order it for the plot. But I really enjoy the bottle. It feels nice. Now the shade I got is the shade 5. Wait, let me double check that. Yeah, the shade 5. What I will say is I really struggled to pick a shade, and the shade 5 is actually a incredible match. So someone pat me on the back for being a wizard somehow in picking it, because I almost went with a darker shade, but I have found that in general, when in doubt, go with the lighter shade, because the darker shades, just for whatever reason, they always end up being wrong. The wrong choice for me. The shade 5 is a good choice. So if you're my complexion, the shade 5 is her for you. Now, it has caffeine in it and all of that. What I want to do is I want to apply a little bit. A little bit of this concealer goes a long way, I have found. So I've learned the hard way. So I just like to apply a little bit, not too much. And then I like to let it sit. Now, anywhere from, this might sound crazy, anywhere from 1 minute to 2 minutes. So lowest 1 minute, kind of max 2 minutes, even though I have let it sit longer. A lot of the time it depends on the eye cream or eye product that I use. Sometimes I will use an oil under my eyes, and when I use an oil, I can even let it sit longer. One time I applied my concealer and I forgot that I had something going on in the kitchen, like I needed to go make my coffee, or I forgot that I had a coffee pot on or something. I ran out, I was, first of all, made a mess, and so it took me a little bit of time. I went back, it was probably about 5 minutes, and I was like, oh crap, I forgot to blend out my concealer, and it ended up being fine. And I had oil under my eyes. So now we're gonna give it a second, let it marinate, dry down, and then come back and blend it out. Concealer has dried down, so I'm gonna blend out one side with my fingers and one side with a brush, just so you can see. I'm gonna use the Hourglass concealer brush, and I'm gonna, on this side, just use this to blend it out. This is the concealer blended out with a brush. What do you guys think? Now I'm gonna blend this side out with my finger, and I'm just going to use my ring finger to tap it out. Okay, both sides are concealed. This has a nice medium coverage. I do want to layer it up just so you can see how it wears when you layer it up and how it kind of applies when you layer it up and stuff like that. So I'm going to apply a touch more just here on both sides. And for this, I'm not going to make it like let it sit for a little bit. I'm just going to blend it out. So I'm going to take the same brush and we're just going to blend. Second coat of concealer is blended out. What do you guys think? Do you like the shade, the coverage, the finish? It has more of a natural finish and definitely more medium coverage. You can kind of get it to be a touch more than medium coverage when you do 2 layers or when you let it dry down. And that's really with any concealer. If you let it dry down, unless it's one that dries down super, super fast, then do not do that, because then you're just, it ends up looking a little funky. But this one doesn't dry down super fast, which is really nice. I don't find that on me it creases. Even when I was wearing oil under my eyes, I didn't get creasing, which is pretty impressive because I feel like a lot of concealers do crease when you wear something that is a little bit more oil based underneath your eyes. This one I didn't find creased on me, which is really nice. I do have creasy under eyes and fine lines and all of that, and I felt like my under eyes were good with this and I didn't have creasing. With this concealer, I find that over applying powder can be a mistake at times. And by over apply, I mean just applying a lot. When I apply a lot of powder and I put just a pressed powder or just a loose powder and it's a lot, let's say, at the end of the day, I'm not loving the way my under eyes look. But if I do a combination of a loose and a pressed powder and it's a lot of powder under my eyes, I don't have that problem. So it's just something to know to not apply too much powder with this, or at least for my under eyes, because by the end it didn't look bad, but when I got close to a mirror, I wasn't loving the way my under eyes look. But that's just by the end of the day. But if I did, like, let's say a loose powder first, like my Ami Collet powder, and then I took a pressed powder, it could be the Westman Atelier or even the Tower 28, whichever one you like, Charlotte Tilbury, and I take a powder puff and I kind of get like a bunch of product on the powder puff, tap off on the back of my hand, then apply the concealer, the powder on top of the powder I just used before that, I find that I don't have an issue with how my under eyes look. It's very interesting, but I do find that with a lot of concealers, usually the combo of a loose and a pressed powder is better when you're applying a lot of powder than just one or the other, if that makes sense. This is what it's looking like now. I really like the way that it kind of wears and looks. I'm not going to set it with powder right now. I'm going to let it kind of marinate. We're going to move on to a bronzer really quick. I'm just going to apply the Westman Atelier contour stick in the shade Truffle. I'm going to just apply it around the edges of my face and kind of warm up my complexion. I want to take a little bit of this palette, so I want to take these 2 shades at the top. The first one I'm going to use is this one here. This is the Creal Beauty Gold Lust palette, and I'm going to just put it directly on my lid. And I'm going to take the lighter shade here, I'm going to put it in my inner corner, and also kind of pull it up onto my lid to kind of create a little bit of a gradient. Now I'm going to go on with this eyeliner from Jillian Dempsey. I'm obsessed with this. And we're just going to do a light line. Like, I don't want too much, but I do want to thicken my lash line up a little bit. So we're just going to do a line that kind of starts thinner and gets thicker on the way out, if that makes sense, towards this corner, if that makes sense. So I'm just doing from here over. Before we move on to our new mascara, we're going to apply a little bit of blush. I'm going to go on with the Say Beauty blush in the shade Chili. I'm just going to take a little bit on the back of my hand. And I love this shade. I feel like it's the perfect shade. I love this shade. Look how pretty that is. It's just stunning. I'm going to take this brush here. This is an Hourglass, their new blush brush. I'm going to dip in to that and I'm going to apply. Look how pretty that shade is. It's just stunning. And then whatever's left on this brush, I'm just gonna apply it to my nose, just for a little bit of color, but we're not getting crazy with it. Because sometimes when you over apply blush on your nose, it can look a little bit funky. So now what I wanna do is I do wanna set just my T-zone and under eyes with a little bit of powder. So this is the Amicole setting powder, you guys know. Actually, if you're new here, you might not know, but I love this setting powder. And I'm just gonna take a brush and we're just gonna very lightly apply it to our under eyes and T-zone. T-zone and under eyes are set. Now we're moving on to the new Sarah Creal mascara. This is the mascara. It has kind of a funky shape to it. This is meant to be a tubing and volumizing mascara, which I was really intrigued by. Because I just love, well, I love a volumizing mascara, but I also love a tubing mascara. But then I saw the brush, and so then I got a little bit concerned because for the volumizing portion, not the tubing portion, because it didn't look like it was going to be volumizing. This is also $40. Is it $40? I believe it's $40, which is up there in price for mascara. Let me show you what I meant when I was talking about the brush being like, oh, okay, not being sure if it was going to give me volume. So this is the brush here. And these brushes don't always give me a lot of volume, or this style brush. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do one coat first, and then I'm going to do a second one, and I'll show you kind of how it builds up and all of that. So we're going to do first coat, and then we're going to talk about the first coat. So this is one coat of the mascara. What do you guys think of the first coat? Now we're gonna go on with the second coat. With this wand, I don't feel like I need to clean it off, so I don't need to scrape off excess because the brush doesn't hold on to a ton of product. Not in a bad way, but it doesn't have, you know, a ton collecting on the end or at the base. So I don't worry about it becoming kind of clumpy or funky looking with the amount of product on the wand, if that makes sense. So let's do coat number 2. So this is 2 coats on the top and 1 coat on the bottom. Let me know what you guys think down below. It's a very natural volume, but it's not a super va-va-voom volume, if that makes sense, but it does still give volume. It's just not going to be the type of volume that works for everyone, because some people like a really intense volume. For me, this is still a nice amount of volume, and I would still wear this amount of volume even to go out at night. However, I do know some people like a lot more intensity with their volume. I find that this wand isn't super separating, so, which isn't a bad thing, but some people do like a very separated lash. This is not going to give you a very separated lash. I do really enjoy the way that this looks and kind of wears and removes. I don't get running with this mascara, which is really nice because I have weepy eyes. So I feel like that's a good testament. If you have weepy eyes, this might be worth trying out, because it, at least for me, because I have allergies and it's never not, I feel like my eyes are always crying like crazy. This doesn't give me any running, which is nice, and I enjoy wearing this, and I don't necessarily have to set my concealer with powder when I wear this mascara, which is nice. But that in general is how it kind of works for me with other tubing mascaras as well. Tubing mascaras, I really don't have to worry about running, at least on my eyes. So I really enjoy this. Now, I know that they have a lipstick. I'm going to grab that lipstick now that I've tried these 2 products, but I'm going to go on with a different lipstick to kind of finish off the look. We're going to go on with the RMS, their serum lipstick, and this is in the shade Naomi, and I'm just going to kind of pat it on the lips. Okay, so this is that lipstick. This looks a lot brighter in the monitor than it looks in person. It does not look that bright in person. Then on top of that, I'm going to go with the Summer Fridays Butter Balm in the shade Beige Vanilla, or Vanilla Beige. Lips are on now. I want to kind of do final thoughts and all of that, so it's a really well-rounded review, because I know these products are expensive. First, let's talk concealer. Now, I really enjoy this formula for a few reasons. I really like how buildable the coverage is. I feel like it's a nice medium coverage, but you can kind of build it up to be a little bit more. I like that it doesn't set down right away, so I can let it marinate for a little bit. And then I can get a little bit more out of the coverage, if that makes sense. I don't find that it creases. Even when I tested it on top of an oil, I didn't get creasing, which is really nice. And again, I do have creasy under eyes. The only, I would say, negative part, and I don't even know if this is negative, I don't love this over powdered. So when you apply a lot of powder on top of this, I find that by the end of the day, I don't love the way my under eyes look. I don't tend to over apply powder, so for me, that's not a problem. But if you do like to apply a lot of powder, I just suggest doing just a touch of loose powder, or I mean, it can even be pressed powder, and applying a little bit and then taking a powder puff and applying a pressed powder that way. I find that I get the most success that way. I don't find that this makes my mascara run, which is really nice, and I've tested it with a bunch of different mascaras and a bunch of different kind of bases underneath it. And by bases, I mean just eye creams or oils, and I have found that I have been happy with the way my under eyes looks, and also the way that my mascara kind of holds up, if that makes sense. I really enjoy the way it wears. The shade 5 is really nice. It's not too brightening, but it gives me some brightening, like a little bit. It's a nice natural looking finish. I don't know, I'm just a really big fan of this concealer. I would love to know down below what your thoughts are, if you enjoy it. Because I feel like it's one that would work for a lot of different skin types, and it's a very comfy wear. I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are going to be a fan of this, and overall this is one that has been, since I got this and I've been trying it out, outside of when I've been testing it, I have been grabbing this a ton, which really surprises me. Overall, this is a win for me. It is just a little bit expensive, but it is a really nice formula, and overall, I'm a fan. Now let's talk mascara. So this is meant to be, again, a volumizing and tubing mascara. I do find that the tubing is really nice. It's easy to remove. Overall, that portion of the formula I really, really enjoy. I also really like the volume, but it gives you a natural volume. So if you're the type of person that likes a really intense va-va-voom, this isn't necessarily going to be the mascara for you. But if you want something that gives you a little bit of something, but it isn't too intense, I don't know how to explain it. It gives you, I feel like a little bit of something is kind of underselling it. It gives you some volume, but it feels like a very natural volume. It's not a very separating formula, so that is something that some people really won't enjoy, because you do get a little bit of clumping, but to me, the clumping isn't bad, if that makes sense. It looks really nice, but some people like a really, really separating, more Glossier lash slick kind of natural looking lash, so this might not be for you in that sense. It does give more volume than Glossier Lash Slick, so it definitely does give you some volume. It's just not an over the top volume that a lot of people do enjoy, so that's just something to know. It's not going to be for everyone, because of the volume being a little bit more minimal, but it still gives you volume and it still looks really nice, and it's one that wears really nicely during the day, and when I've worn it out at night, it's worn really nicely, and I haven't come home to like have like raccoon eyes or anything like that. I really enjoy this formula, but again, this is not going to be for everyone, but it is going to be for someone who wants volume, but a kind of natural looking volume. Now, this isn't my favorite tubing mascara. If I had to pick ones that I kind of prefer over this one, just because of the way that it makes my lashes look, I would say the Victoria Beckham Beauty, the one in the white tube. The one in the black tube is nice, but it is very much more natural. It's more natural than this one. The white tube in the Victoria Beckham Beauty, the Merit Beauty tubing mascara is also really nice. And I would say that this is similar to the Creal Beauty tubing mascara, just in the way that it makes your lashes look and all of that. And yeah, that's it for this video. That is it for my Sarah Creal makeup kind of review. I'm going to order the lipstick now and try that out. and probably do that in a video with other products, not in a video on its own. If there are other makeup products that you want me to review, let me know down below. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.